Listen to the vibes.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of The Vibes. I'd like to introduce Pramoda Vyasarao, who is a leadership coach, an author, and a course creator, and the founder of Changesmith Coaching LLC. So let's get to know him, have a great conversation. Pramoda, tell us a little bit more about you.
Thank you, Kyle. I'm really excited to be on the show here. I have about 21 years experience in the technology industry, 13 years in India and then 8 years in the United States. I have worked for technology giants such as Oracle and Facebook. Facebook became Meta later. In the last 18 months, since January 2023, I am on my own. I run a business called Changesmith Coaching, primarily focused on leadership development, personal growth for technology folks in America and other countries in the world.
And you have a degree in computer science?
Oh, yes, wow. Absolutely. I've got a master's degree in computer science from India.
And how long did it take you to come over here to the United States?
I was with Oracle India for about 13 years, from 2002 to 2015. In 2015, I was given an option to transfer here for a bigger project to manage a bigger team. I took the opportunity to relocate here from India to the US in 2015, and I've been enjoying the last 9 years with my family.
I sat here and read all the stuff that you've done and accomplished. It's been quite a journey. You lost 33 pounds. How'd you do that?
Well, it was initially really difficult. The idea was I had put on weight for 2 years, from 2001 to 2003. I was under a mild depression because my father had passed away in 2001 and my grandfather passed away in 2003. I had existential questions back then. And during this period, I did not work out. I did not have a good lifestyle. I put on a lot of weight. What happened was, all of a sudden, I realized in 2 years, I was more than 33 pounds overweight. My body was about 92 kilos, or about 180 pounds. So I started walking to ensure I can lose some weight. And in about 90 days, I lost some weight, maybe a couple of kgs, maybe 4 pounds. That gave me inspiration that I can continue doing it. From then, I started to learn swimming. That helped me lose a little bit of weight. And from there, I went to a martial art course for about 3 years to lose more weight. And then ultimately, I started running, from a 10K race to a half marathon or to a full marathon. So if you look at my journey in the last 21 years, from 2003 to 2024, I have lost about 60 pounds overall in 21 years. I'm currently about 68 kilograms, maybe 150 pounds or less. It's a big, long journey. I've really enjoyed the journey of losing weight. In the process, I also lost a lot of emotional baggage that I had, not only physical weight in terms of fat, but I also a lot of emotional baggage that I carried over through my childhood and teenage and college days. So it has been a fascinating journey.
And what did your father do?
He was a middle school teacher. He was a middle school teacher. He was teaching at high school as well. He was teaching languages, Indian languages in school. He had a master's degree in 3 languages. He was really well-read. He was pursuing his PhD as well back then. He was a role model for me in terms of knowing what you really want, being passionate about your personal goals, achieving them, being content with what you're doing, helping other people and getting joy through helping other people. These were great things I saw as a kid growing up in India.
Was your grandfather an influence too?
Absolutely. My grandfather was also a teacher. When I was born, he was already retired, but most of my childhood was with my grandfather. I really enjoyed time with him. His discipline, he used to get up at about 4:30 a.m. every morning. Ever since I was in maybe second or third grade, I remember the days, like he had a clear routine. 4:30, he used to wake up, meditate, do spiritual activities, all of these things about his own personal development and connection to the spirit. And he had that lifestyle for such a long time. And he ate only once in the day. No breakfast, only lunch, and no dinner. So extremely disciplined lifestyle. It's amazing to watch some of these people in my childhood and grow watching them, to see they were so content. I mean, that's the unique thing about folks in my family. They were content. They were teachers. They were content with whatever they had. there was nothing outside their world would bring them happiness. In the sense they found joy in what they were doing. That was unique about folks in my family.
You became a speaker. Now, what was that journey like?
Back in India, when I was studying, I learned the English language at age 11 in my fifth grade. This is very common even in some of the rural areas in India, where you learn the local languages first and then come to English. What happens with this methodology is that you're learning the basics at age 11. Like my son is 13, he can write essays. He's in California. He can write essays because he has been learning English from his first grade. For me, it's like a big challenge. I had great ideas, but I could not articulate the ideas in English language. That became a hindrance as a software engineer because software engineering is a team sport. You work with people to develop something, create a product. I was struggling to communicate, share my ideas verbally. I was good at writing things, writing on a document. I wasn't really good in communicating in meetings. To overcome this gap, I joined Toastmasters Club, which is a public speaking community. I used to go there every Thursday. I went there for about 3 years, 2003 to 2006. In those 3 years, I learned everything about language skills, metaphors, storytelling, how to use emotions, how to use logic, how to persuade your audience, how to make people laugh. I learned all these skills in those 3 years. And what's so funny that I started teaching other people how to speak and deliver speeches and prepare speeches. And I was also earning money at some point through my speeches, delivering speeches, educating people, training people. What was an act of fear became an act of earning money later. It is really fascinating how things can change in your life.
So you decided to become a coach.
Yes. When I started improving myself through communicating and sharing in Toastmasters Club, I realized people were coming to me for help. I enjoyed helping them. Right in those days, I realized I really enjoy helping other people grow with my experience. Because I have struggled in my career, I thought how I could help other people. So since 2007, I have been helping people within the organizations where I worked, as well as people in my community and friends who come to me. They come to me either for one of these two things. One is life goals. A lot of people don't know what are intrinsic goals. They keep chasing extrinsic goals like money, fame, job title, and so on. My life always has been through intrinsic goals. What makes me happy? What brings joy to me? I chase those goals. So people come to me to see how I identify and achieve those intrinsic goals. The second area where people come to me for coaching is leadership development. If you look at my career, I was a software engineer for 6 years. I became a manager. Then I became a manager of managers. Then I became a director of engineering with a large organization. I manage people across different countries. So naturally, I have gone through my own evolution as a leader through coaching, through books, through workshops, and many other mentorship activities. So people come to me because I have gone through a process. I know what it feels like to be in the trenches, to know and to not know things about leadership. So all these things I bring from my experience. I went through several coaching certification programs so that I have a structure to help other people, not only my experience, but I have a clear structure and frameworks to help other people. So to sum up, I do two types of coaching. One is life coaching, identifying your intrinsic goals and going after those goals, or it could be leadership coaching, which is developing your leadership skills to manage an organization, manage teams, starting with self-leadership, leading yourself.
Is that when you decided to write the book?
Writing a book was one of my goals. I wrote this goal in 2007.
Mm-hmm.
One day I will write a book, but it never occurred to me that I have to prioritize. I had so many other priorities. My thought was once I age up to 50, once I turn 50, I would stop working and write books and teach people and do this on my own, like full-time activity. What happened was my position was eliminated at Meta last year in January 2023. I was 43 back then. So I thought I have two options right now. I'm at a fork. Option one is to go back to another tech job, another treadmill of the same thing I have done for 21 years. Or plan B, which is option number two, to go do something on my own, to become an author, coach, and teacher, to see if I can earn income through that and live my next 20 years like that, or 30 years. So I wanted to experiment because I have not done this before as a full-time profession. So currently I'm on a 2-year career break from January 23 to January 25 to explore how I can add value through my experience of teaching, through writing articles and blogs and publishing a book and digital courses, how I can add value to this universe. At the same time, is there an opportunity for me to survive with this income? That is the experimentation I'm on right now.
Do people ask you if you got to know Zuckerberg?
Well, the good thing is the culture at Meta is extremely open, which means every week, back then it was every week, I believe now it is every 2 weeks, Mark Zuckerberg has an open conference where he comes on a video call and he talks for about 35-40 minutes on where the company is going, what are the challenges, what is the strategy, what they're doing. And at the end of that talk, about 15 minutes, people can ask questions. I went to this meeting every week during my tenure at Meta. There is so much to learn. Not only Mark Zuckerberg, but other people also come and they talk about what's happening in the company. To me, the biggest opportunity for people in the company is to learn how people think, how they put strategy in place, how they run their business. In fact, anybody who is serious about building their own business, they are lucky to be at Meta because they get all these free knowledge every week from executives. I was just making notes in every call and say how they talk, how they think, what books are they recommending, what courses are they recommending, how do they think about strategy, how do they pivot to new strategies, how openly they talk about challenges in the company and what they're doing to solve it. There is so much of learning. It's like a great MBA program for managers to be in those calls just to listen, grasp ideas, and make notes and apply in their own job and business if they have one.
Speaking on your book, I know you want people to read it, but can you give maybe a real quick rundown of the structure of the book?
Absolutely. The book has 3 sections. This is a unique book. Unlike other self-help books where there is so much of information is given to you, I believe, Kyle, that this information is not required. People know everything. You go to Chat GPT and search. You go to Perplexity. You go to Google.com. You have answers to every question about techniques and strategies. People don't want techniques. They don't need techniques now. So my book is all about demonstration. In section 1, I talk about 52 goals that I chose for myself. They are intrinsic goals. I talk about why I picked those 52 goals, how did I achieve them, and what was the experience like, the process of achieving those 52 goals. In section 2, I talk about a 7-step framework for achieving any life or business goal. It's a simple framework anybody can apply to their goals in life or business. In section 3, I talk about top 3 mistakes people do when it comes to identifying and achieving their goals. I talk about these 3 sections. Every chapter has a bit of quote here and there, and every chapter has got 2 or 3 reflection questions because I want people to think about their own goals as they go through the book. So it is a book of demonstration, not of information. It is a book of inspiration through my own personal example. I'm a practitioner, not a preacher. And that comes in every chapter as you read, that this is a practitioner's guide, not a preacher who is studying people to share information with the world.
So this book is an inspiration, whether you want to make money or maybe you want to run a marathon or write a book. It covers everything.
Absolutely. It covers what I call the wheel of life. The wheel of life has so many dimensions to it. It can be health, fitness, relationship, your passion, your business, your impact on this planet, helping other people, coaching, mentoring, practicing spirituality, identifying ways to improve yourself, meditation retreats. Pick your goal. You will relate to one of these goals and say, wow, this is amazing. I would love to achieve this goal. Whether it is running a marathon or running a marathon under 4 hours, or going to a 10-day silence meditation retreat to explore yourself, there is something for everybody in this book. Whether you are a business-oriented person, money-oriented person, or spirituality-driven, does not matter. There is something for everybody in this book. It's like a buffet. You can pick what you like and enjoy eating it.
Well, I can testify on meditation because that helped me to overcome depression and PTSD and other things that I had been suffering. I'm assuming you have some advice on how to meditate, that kind of thing, or you just mention these things you can go to.
I can recommend one thing for me. What has worked for me is initially all of us go through various techniques, meaning if you look at one of the schools of meditation is you chant something, you pick a mantra of your choice, you chant something. That's one way of doing it. Some people chant Sanskrit slokas or something more meaningful to them. Some people just watch their breath. They take deeper breaths, they regulate their breath, and hence they get into meditation mode. To me, the simplest way, Kyle, has been think about what's happening in the mind. Just watch your mind. Your mind is like the sky, the blue sky,
Mhm.
and thoughts are like clouds that are always coming and floating across. The more you relate with the sky and say, I am the sky, I am not the thoughts, meaning you are not attached to any thought. You are not jumping onto a cloud that takes you to somewhere else. You're simply noticing those clouds. They can be dark clouds, white clouds, they come and go, they come and go. You are not your thoughts. You're just watching your thoughts, observing them interestingly, objectively, without any judgment. To me, that space is really important. That is, I call it as a state of meditation. There is something called as the act of meditation, where you set up a timer for 60 minutes or 20 minutes and sit down and meditate. That is the act of meditation. Whereas the state of meditation is where you can actually notice your thoughts objectively without any attachment, without any emotion, simply let them float by, let them pass by, is a state of meditation in my experience.
Hmm. And now I read something about you that you donated blood 50 times.
Yes, I did.
Now, one, why would you want to do that? And two, kind of explain the significance of that.
Yes. This was back then. My paternal uncle, my father's younger brother, went through a surgery way back when I was a small kid, maybe 13. I was not 18 to go donate blood to him.
Mhm.
And I remember how my father went around the city to various blood banks to find 1 or 2 units of blood. It was so difficult to get a unit of blood in India back then,
Mhm.
probably 1980s, mid 1980s. I realized the whole family was in a panic to go get a few units of blood for my uncle. I realized the value of the blood donation back then. What is interesting is I kept donating since 2001. I've been doing it for a long time. I realize this is the same thing in all countries, whether you are in India or in the US or other countries. Blood cannot be manufactured. It has to be transfused from person A to person B. There is no other way. At this point, nobody can manufacture blood and artificially help other people. There is always a need for blood. People who are listening to this, I want you to consider if you are healthy, if you are in all parameters are perfect with your health parameters, please consider donating blood. There is a lot of need in the US as well. There are so many patients who are going through accidents or cancer patients who need platelets. So you can add somebody, you can add value to somebody's life. You can add years to their life. You are a candle. You can help other candles glow brighter through your unit of blood. So please consider donating wherever you are. It is a required thing in all countries, by the way. Even the most advanced countries need people who donate blood voluntarily.
Well, speaking about values, you seem to have a lot of family values.
You know, I generally think we are not in isolation. Like human beings' life is not in isolation. We are always connected to a few people.
Mhm.
And those people, you can call them as your circles, like concentric circles. It's one center, but there are so many circles which are encircling each other. The inner circle is yourself, your individuality, yourself, and the next circle is your immediate family, maybe partner, kids, and so on. And the next circle is your siblings and cousins and so on. And it radiates outside this circle. I believe, in my experience and my lifestyle so far, I always look at my most innermost circle and say, how do I add value to the innermost circle I have here, to myself, to my immediate family, and I radiate outwards. The reason I do that is if you look at anybody who dies toward the end, you have to see who will be with you while you're on your deathbed. You might have a lot of colleagues, a lot of friends, a lot of many other people, but who is with you when you leave this planet is only a few people who really matter to you. And I don't think we need to realize that at an old age. I would rather realize the reality at an early age and enjoy my time with my closed ones so that I make great memories. Even though I'm not on this planet, I leave great memories for people around me to cherish those memories and rejoice in those memories.
Do you mind if I ask you something kind of personal?
Yes, go on.
Oh, well, my curiosity is with your son, is he maybe following more of the traditional values that you bring from your country, or is the United States influencing some of his values?
It is definitely influencing his values right now. I believe, Kyle, I can only live by example, lead by example.
Mm-hmm.
What he does is completely up to him. But my wife and I, we really live by example and we embody all the values we want him to adopt going forward. Like how I treat my mother, how I treat my siblings, how I work with my wife as a team, how we treat each other. We are actually showing him the example in front of him every day. So our action speaks louder than words. So we have done our best. It's always a constant challenge to stay grounded in our own values. And we are leading by example. Of course, there are influence from school and his friends and many places, media, social media. I don't think we can completely stop it, but I think we have given him enough ammunition to think about these and say, one simple example is I have been right from his childhood. We keep telling him that every morning there are a few Sanskrit slokas we chant. And I tell him to chant not for being spiritual or religious. They can really impact the way you think. You will be grounded. You will think better. You will have more prefrontal cortex. I explain to him in science terms, like what's the benefit of these chants. And I tell him every day after he takes bath, he sits down for a couple of minutes to take breath and watch himself. To me, that is great. If he can do it for a couple of minutes every day for the rest of his life, that's good enough. Because now he has a space between his stimulus and response. He can watch that space every day. And he's 13 right now, and he can develop that space wider and wider as he grows older.
Now, I'll be honest with you. I used to really be into social media, but over the last few years, I've really moved away from it. I use it every once in a while, but I'm not real crazy about it. Was there any kind of conflict with your beliefs in also working for a social media company?
Definitely, there were conflicts. For example, if you look at Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
I personally believe it's not useful to somebody's life. I really think Instagram as an app is not really useful. But I also realized as I worked in the company and learned more, there are a lot of people who love, and for them, it is a way to express themselves around the world. So, in fact, I realized that my perception is incorrect. There are some people who really love these social media apps. My learning, Kyle, is social media is just like a knife. It's a tool. You can use the knife to cut an apple or cut someone else or cut yourself.
Hey.
So we need to be mindful about using the tool for achieving our goals. And it's just a way to live a good life as a tool. Do not be used by the tool. Use the tool. I
It's a
realize in the process, it's not really the tool itself, it's the person using the tool. Just like money doesn't make people bad, it's how we use it, which makes it good or bad.
Yeah. Well, like you say, it's good. Like for me, when I want to promote a video or something, it's great to put it out there, but people can get nasty on social media, and I don't even get into arguments with people anymore. I did at one time, and I'm like, well, this is not any value to my life. What do I need to do that for? And quite honestly, I don't even hardly get on there to promote the show anymore. I'm just
Yeah.
not real thrilled about it, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I also think it's a test of our own character. If somebody is opposing our views, it also is a good test how gracefully we handle it and how we disagree gracefully and say, okay, you have a different perspective and I have a different perspective, and that's okay.
Right.
We don't need to agree. We don't need to agree and convince each other. Here is my perspective. Here is your perspective. That's it. No debate is required in many cases. Nobody has to win.
Right. Now, do you have a website or do you do your coaching online at all?
For people who want to explore what I do, you can go to my website called changesmith.me. Changesmith is one word, .me is the website. You can see my digital courses on leadership, communication, storytelling, if you are a technology person. I also have a page for one-to-one coaching. You can explore what is it like to coach with me. You can also explore my book. It's on the website. You can explore the contents of the book on the website and link to Amazon to go buy. You can also follow me on LinkedIn. I post a useful, inspiring, motivational content every day, like Monday to Sunday, all 7 days. There is something useful for people, either on leadership, intentional goals, or communication, or leading a good life. So there's something for everybody on my LinkedIn post.
I will put those links in the description to make it easier for folks to find you. But Pramoda, thank you so much for being on here.
I am so excited. I loved the conversation. If it helps one person who is listening to this, I would be excited and glad.
Exactly. I also want to thank all you folks out there. If you are new to the channel, I hope you'll come back. Please hit that subscribe button. For my regulars, you guys are awesome because you make it possible for me to do this. Until the next one, everyone, please take care. Be kind to one another. God bless and peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Listen to the Vibes. You can catch us on Buzzsprout or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook at The Vibes Broadcast Network